After spending endless amounts of time conducting research into both music videos connected with my selected genre and their associated groups, digipacks and websites, it is very clear to me that there are some conventions that are heavily used within the industry, some that products could not suffice without. However, some examples show me that it is possible to bend some of the conventions by developing them into a slightly different manner, or changing them to an extent where they are no longer there at all, producing somewhat of a unique concept. Challenging a convention can be a risky business in an industry which is so demanding, such as the music industry, as if you do something which is heavily disliked, it can ruin the whole product through one small idea. An example of this in the real world is Lady Gaga's Bad Romance. Despite the song making #1 in the UK charts, its video suffered, receiving 175,803 thumbs down on YouTube. That's quite a lot. This was mainly due to the fact that the song heavily broke conventions, the most evident one being that Goodwin's theory of voyeurism is broken. In this, Lady Gaga does not look like something the male would want to look at all, and I think this caused the video to be disliked. An example of how breaking conventions can be dangerous there. My music video, on its own, has stuck to most of the conventions of an alternative genre music video. For instance, a heavy convention of performance narrative music videos is the fact that we can see a lot of cutting to the beat. I've incorporated this convention as best as possible because I feel that it keeps the video looking tidy and hints a sense of professionalism to the video. Another way that the video follows conventions is the way it cuts from performance to narrative. Whilst conducting my research, I noticed more and more videos using this idea as opposed to sticking to just one. I feel it gives more freedom to the video and prevents the audience from getting bored, being why I chose to incorporate it. The party scenes themselves are cut at a fast-paced tempo. This is because music videos tend to have a relationship between the music and the visuals, as Goodwin pointed out. Because at this point, the music has picked up the pace, and the fact that it is a party, I deemed it necessary to match the pace of the narrative and music with the editing done. Another strong convention used in media is the idea of synergy. One product being linked to another because of a particular element. This is done a lot in the music industry as it makes it easier to sell the artist through brand recognition as well as through the artist's performance itself. I decided to link up typography, photography, colour schemes and through repeated imagery, such as the record label. This is heavily used in real media products, and I thought it would be disastrous really to voyage away from the safe convention. The website follows a steady format, like a lot of band websites do. Nothing too substantial is going on, and it's actually quite basic. A lot of bands have their websites so the attention is not distracted away from the essential information that the creators want the audience to see, such as gig dates and information on the band itself. Having something too extravagant would distract attention and therefore break this convention. It's because of this I opted to stick to a fairly basic website layout. Despite the fact that I've tried to stick to most of the more vital conventions, there are elements of me having broken the code and choosing to do something a little bit different, things are not often preferred. For example, a lot of the video is done handheld. I experimented with this quite a lot on the filming days to see what I could achieve both using and not using the tripod. Admittedly, the use of the tripod is not exactly a convention when doing action scenes such as the party scenes that I've done. But in the performance scenes, it would be very common to do shots on the tripod to have a steady picture. I have broken this convention with the complete intent of giving it a more homemade feel. The intention was to try and pull it away from the sense that it was supposed to be a proper film, as it wasn't. It was a hand-created document of a young new band on the scene, meant to portray their lives and what they actually get up to in real life, as well as their music lives. Following this, I decided that it would be better to shoot the performance scenes in a little cramped music room. This challenges conventions because normally we see a group performing in front of an audience, be it a massive crowd or a famous venue or a smaller live gig. I decided it would be better to use the small dingy room as it portrayed better the fact that they are an unknown band, and it worked quite well with the idea of using the handheld camera. Something I have developed slightly is the pace of which the editing is done on the performance scenes. Due to the quite upbeat tempo of the song throughout most of it, usually editing would be quite fast paced as well. I have not done this. Instead, I have tried to dedicate the same amount of time on each instrument and each performer to put across the fact that in my eyes they are all as important as each other. Normally in a music video the singer would get most of the attention, followed by the guitarist, and then so on and so on. Despite this, I should note that I have followed this convention of the singer being the most important in the narrative scenes, as the story is actually focused on him mainly. Finally, the Digipack's photography is quite rugged. Most groups have really professionally well taken photographs on their Digipacks. I've decided against this because they are at a party. From research and raw experience, I have noticed that no pictures taken at a party look professional. They have blurs and dodgy flash and dodgy faces and all sorts. And I've tried to incorporate this into my Digipack to give it a real feel. Overall, the products I've created have mainly stuck quite